الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. من كان عدوا لله وملائكته ورسله وجبريل وميكال فإن الله عدو للكافرين. ولقد أنزلنا إليك آيات بينات وما يكفر بها إلا الفاسقون. صدق الله العظيم. Regarding ayat number 98 of Surat al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions very clearly, Man kana aduwan lillah, whosoever becomes an enemy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or they choose to become an enemy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wa malaikatihi, the enemy of the angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wa rusulihi, the messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Jibreel wa Mikal, and they want to become an enemy of Jibreel alayhi salam, and Mikal or Mikail alayhi salam. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ عَدُوٌّ لِلْكَافِرِينَ. Then definitely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the enemy of those who are kafir or disbelievers. The malaika, the angels, the rusul, messengers and prophets, Jibreel alayhi salam and Mikail alayhi salam, they operate under the hukum of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, under the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if someone wants to try and find fault with the angels, with the messengers, with Jibreel alayhi salam and Mikail alayhi salam, in reality, those people are trying to find fault with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they're trying to become an enemy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there are such people in this world that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created them with this nature, and they choose to have a type of stubbornness and hatred to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or hatred for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because they feel that they wanted this world to be their paradise. And in wanting and choosing this dunya to be a paradise, they could not, or they did not want in any way to be controlled. This is the concept and the idea of freedom also. That we want to be free, unlimited freedom. But the reality of the unlimited freedom is that as human beings, we have been created within a system, we have been created within a creation. There are certain rules, certain laws that govern our life. These rules and these laws keep us human beings grounded. They keep us human beings within the limits of this creation, so we can never truly be free, unlimited free. And this being a reality with the creation around us, when it comes to the Creator as well as human beings, we're not free to do what we want, however we want, whatever we want. But rather this dunya, this world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created as a test. Everything within this dunya, everything within this world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made as a testing ground. And to develop hatred for that, or hatred for the system of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in reality we're not harming Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in any way, but the individual who chooses to be an enemy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that person or those people will harm themselves. Shaykh Sadi rahmatullah alayhi, in one of his poems he wrote, he said that, no matter how much you blow at the sun, you're not going to blow it out. You can try all you want. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is beyond our reach, that we have no way that we can in any way harm Him or think in any way that we might be able to harm Him in any way. Man kana aduwan lillah, whosoever chooses to be an enemy to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by being ungrateful for the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by choosing to try and stop the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to develop a hatred for those who implement the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa malaikatihi, whosoever has or chooses to be an enemy to the angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there are many malaika that are mentioned in the Quran, many various malaika and angels that have been mentioned in the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The number is very vast. Large numbers of malaika given various tasks. But these malaika, they do not act of their own accord. In reality, they're just fulfilling and carrying out whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders them to carry out. They are beings of purity. So for someone to have hatred for malaika indirectly means that this person, he hates purity or he hates things that are pure. You'll often find those that are the friends of shaitan, those that are or have chosen a life to befriend shaitan. In reality, they are very, very filthy people. They do not have any kind of purity in them, be it physical purity, be it spiritual purity, psychological purity. The aspect and the concept of tahara and cleanliness is not in their life. This tahara, being clean, this is a sign of iman, because it brings a person closer to the malaika, to the stage and the phase which the malaika live in, a state of purity. This tuhur or tahara is mentioned in the hadith, shatrul iman, and another hadith, nisful iman. This cleanliness and purity, this is part of iman, very important part of iman. Wallahu yuhibbul mutatahhirin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He loves those that are always seeking to be pure and seeking to be clean. This is the nature of the malaika, that they go around those that are pure, both in the physical sense. That is why as believers, it's highly encouraged that we stay in a state of wudu as much as we can. Being in a state of wudu protects a person from many things. But if nothing else, it keeps the person in the company of malaika, the angels of rahmah. They go around the person who stays in a state of wudu. And anything that is impure, the malaika, they do not go close to the impure people, those who are not pure, those who are not clean. And not just from the physical sense, also from our aqwal, from our words, those who lie, those who backbite, those who use foul language, the malaika do not go close to those kind of people. It is in the nature of malaika to be very, very pure. So for someone to choose to be an enemy to the malaika, in essence they're choosing to live a very impure life, live a very, very filthy life, a despicable life, that in the end will result in the person having various kinds of diseases and whatever other aspects there might be to this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept us believers pure. That this purity is something that is a very, very essential part of our deen, very, very essential part of our religion. We're not allowed to stay in a state of janaba, in a state of impurity for a very long time. We're told to take care of our salawat. Part of the salah is to be in a state of tahara. We're told to perform other righteous a'mal which require a person to be in a pure state. So for someone to make an enemy of the malaika, in essence, they're making an enemy of a pure life for those beings that are very, very pure. Man kana aduwan lillah, whosoever chooses to be an enemy to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa malaikatihi, to be an enemy to the malaika, the angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa rusulihi, someone wants to be an enemy to the messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On one side, we might not have Anbiya alayhimus salam living amongst us, but there are people who choose to have an enmity and hatred to the lifestyle of the Anbiya alayhimus salam, the prophets and messengers, the Anbiya alayhimus salam. They had a very, very particular lifestyle. The sunnah of the Anbiya alayhimus salam. This sunnah is such that it carried on throughout all of the Anbiya alayhimus salam. All of the prophets and messengers, they had a way of life. They implemented a certain type of life. A life of dedication, a life of sincerity. The way that they dressed, they were very, very humble in their dress. They were humble in their code of life. They were very sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this system, the sunnah of all of the Anbiya alayhimus salam, there are particulars of this sunnah that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam spoke about. The sunnah of miswak, something that was common amongst the Anbiya alayhimus salam. The sunnah of keeping the beard and trimming the mustache. This was from the sunnah of the Anbiya alayhimus salam. And there are many, many other aspects that are related to the sunnah of the Anbiya alayhimus salam, the sunnah of the prophets and messengers, that they carried all throughout amongst themselves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought all of that sunnah into the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And He has handed that to us as a legacy, His sunnah. The way that He dressed, the way that He walked, the way that He lived. This sunnah is that lifestyle that for someone to have a hatred against the messengers and the prophets, in essence they're having a hatred against the lifestyle of the Anbiya alayhimus salam. There are some people that have this kind of crookedness in their hearts. There's disease in their hearts that when they see anyone even dressed like how the Anbiya alayhimus salam used to dress, and this person inside has hatred for those kind of people. Or they see someone implementing any sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in their life. So there are people who have that kind of hatred against them. So the hatred for the messengers, the prophets, the Anbiya alayhimus salam, and those who are Rusul and messengers, in reality this is having hatred for the lifestyle of the Anbiya alayhimus salam. Their life, their sunnah, their legacy. This is what is meant by the enemy with the messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But Jibreel or Mikael having enmity against Jibreel alayhi salam, and enmity against Mikael alayhi salam. Whenever we have discussion, often at a time we mention important people. We may exclude them even if they're part of a group, just to give them due reverence and due respect. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayah, knowing that Jibreel alayhi salam is Ruhul Qudus, is the leader of the Malaika. Mikael alayhi salam is also a Malak, an angel. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has exclusively mentioned Jibreel alayhi salam, and has exclusively mentioned Mikael alayhi salam. Why? Because there are people who have enmity against. Jibreel alayhi salam is a representative of the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made him responsible for bringing wahi. Some of his qualities are mentioned in the Quran. They're very, very unique and very particular qualities that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in the Quran regarding Jibreel alayhi salam. And these qualities, first and foremost, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions his status, that Jibreel alayhi salam, he was a teacher to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And he was not some normal teacher. عَلَّمَهُ شَدِيدُ الْقُوَىٰ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the teacher of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly taught Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam on many occasions, but chose Jibreel alayhi salam to also bring down wahi and to be a teacher of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Very deep message for us that when it comes to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, don't think you can learn it yourself. We live in the Google age where we just Google something and we think we know. Be very, very careful. This deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not something so easy to be understood. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about him in the Quran, He tells us, وَمَا يَنْطِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. That Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he's not bringing this Quran from his side. He's not dictating from his desires. إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. This Quran is a revelation that has been given to him. By who? عَلَّمَهُ شَدِيدُ الْقُوَىٰ. He has been taught by a creation that is very, very powerful in its force. Jibreel alayhi salam, coming to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And he used to teach Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. ذُو مِرَّةٍ فَاسْتَوَى وَهُوَ بِالْأُفُقِ الْأَعْلَى. Certain examples are given regarding the status of Jibreel alayhi salam. The Jibreel alayhi salam is very, very honored even in the ranks of the Malaika. He was not some normal angel. That he was not some random or regular angel. Rather, he has a very, very high status amongst the Malaika as well. And other ayat in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the other qualities of Jibreel alayhi salam. That this Quran was revealed by such an angel that ذِي قُوَّةٍ عِنْدَ ذِي الْعَرْشِ مَكِينٍ. He was such an angel that he's so very, very, very powerful angel, not some normal angel. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions his power. Jibreel alayhi salam is such an angel, he's very, very powerful. Why is his power mentioned? Because in this world, what we as human beings we understand is that as insan we have corrupted many things. We human beings, ya subhanallah. Anything we have touched, we have corrupted. All the way down to even vegetables. There was a time when GMOs were going on, messing around with the genetic code of even vegetables. We can't even leave the earth alone. So we've destroyed anything we human beings we put too much into, too much emphasis, we destroy it. And in this world, when it comes to changing something, those that have power, they always try to change things for their own benefit. They have their own agendas behind why they do certain things. The famous saying, might is right. People in this world, when they have the power, so they do. And if someone is so powerful that no one can change him, so then this person he has his way. Even if he might be a foolish person and he might have no one to be able to stand against him. But with one tweet, mashallah, everyone backs off. As mentioned in the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, amongst the signs of the Day of Judgment is that some people will come. A man will be honored because of makhafat sharrihi, the fear of the evil that he might be able to do. Anyhow, but there are some people very, very strong. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in mentioning Jibreel alayhi salam, He's mentioning, making it very, very clear that he's an angel who is so powerful that he's not influenced by anyone. The creation cannot influence him. That someone can come and maybe change the wahi, maybe change the Quran in some way, change some ayat of the Quran in some way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that Jibreel alayhi salam, ذِي قُوَّةٍ, he was very, very powerful. Not someone that you can come and you can affect him or influence him or bribe him or make him change the wahi in some way. No. Not only this, عِنْدَ ذِي الْعَرْشِ مَكِينٍ, he has a very, very particular place right beside the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not that he's so far away that he has to get the message through someone else and then he has to bring it. No. The message was given directly to Jibreel alayhi salam. These are the wahi, these are the ayat of the Quran. Go give it to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And then he would come. And no force in this universe was able to stand to Jibreel alayhi salam or to make him change his wahi in any way. مُطَاعٍ ثَمَّ أَمِينٍ. Very obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, very, very trustworthy, very, very firm, very, very powerful angel. Very strong that not someone could affect him in any way. This is Jibreel alayhi salam. There are kuffar who had, amongst the Bani Israel, they had enmity for Jibreel alayhi salam. But this is also indirect that there are people who are very, very righteous and very firm in their iman. And there are kuffar who hate those kind of mu'mineen and believers. This person, he's so strong in his iman, what kind of, So also this is some qualities that are encouraged even amongst the mu'mineen. That when it comes to your deen, be serious about your Quran, be serious about your deen. Don't take it lightly. Mikael alayhi salam is an angel that has been made in charge of water. And the nature of water, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. And we've made from water every living thing. They have kind of reworded this and made their own slogan, where there is water, there is life. This is copyright from Quran. And all these lawsuits going on, someone should think of this also. Don't bring me into it. If you want to do it, give it to yourself. But I'm sharing with you that this mentioned in the Quran 1400 years ago, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says we made every living thing from water. So Mikael alayhi salam has been made in charge of this water, this aspect of life. And on top of that, he's also been made in charge of keeping track of the water in the universe. The nature of water is that it is very, very pure, and we just went over the aspect and the whole bayan related to purity. So having enmity against life itself, there are people in this world who want to basically hate everyone else, and they just want, there's a strange system that is now in place. I'm going to try to explain it as best as I can. There are some societies in the world where they did a research that what would be a utopia world, what would be like a perfect world. So there was a scientist not too long ago, and he came up with a theory that there should only be 500 million humans in the world. Everyone else should be killed. This is his, okay, he came up with this research using mathematics and whatever other crazy science he was using, and I don't know which shaitan he was making mashwara with. But he eventually came up with this number that if there is more than 500 million humans on this world, there will be nothing but chaos. And he was basing it off of the aspect of how much sustenance there is and how the vast majority of the people are in poverty and going through all these difficulties. He kind of had a hatred for people who are not affluent. So he was trying to say there should only be 500 million humans and that's it. Everyone else should be killed. He also won a Nobel Peace Prize. I don't know what this Nobel Peace Prize is now. Sometimes you find out about the people who are given this prize. It's kind of strange. Anyhow, so we're not going to go into those details. But he went into this research, and a lot of his research was accepted in China, was accepted by some other countries, and trying to depopulize the world, trying to bring down the population of the world. We human beings were almost 7 billion. It's like 6 billion, 800 million something. Well, I think it's now over 7 billion by now. But there are roughly almost 7 billion human beings on earth, and they want to get rid of the vast majority of it. So there are people in the world that have a hatred against life itself. So in hating Jibreel alayhi salam or hating Mikael alayhi salam, indirectly you're hating righteous people, and also you're hating humanity itself. And this is something that comes from shaitan. Shaitan, he hated human beings. إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌ فَاتَّخِذُوهُ عَدُوًّا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us very clearly in the Quran that definitely shaitan, he is an enemy to you. So you also take him as an enemy. So this is the nature of shaitan, to hate human beings and hate humanity. So there are people in this world who have hatred against human beings living. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that there are people who have enmity against Jibreel alayhi salam and against Mikael alayhi salam. And anyone who lives this kind of life, a life of hatred, having an enmity or trying to become an enemy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, becoming an enemy of the angels of Allah, the messengers of Allah, Jibreel alayhi salam and Mikael alayhi salam, just remember one thing, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ عَدُوٌّ لِلْكَافِرِينَ. Then definitely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is also chosen to be the enemy of the kuffar, of the disbelievers who are very, very ungrateful for the favors that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed on them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this in these ayat. Now, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He chooses to be an enemy to someone, it's not the kind of enmity that we as human beings, we may think. When we have rahmah or love for someone, it stems from weakness. When we become enemy to someone, that is also a sign of weakness. When we talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala amma yasifun, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is above and beyond our weak emotion, that what we think as weakness. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses to be the enemy of someone, He deprives them of hidayah and guidance. He deprives them of ever being guided, of ever changing. He gives them everything in this world, and they get so deep in this world that in the end, when they have everything, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then snatches their life away. They work so hard for everything, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes away their life and lets someone else benefit from their labor and their efforts. This is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He chooses or He makes someone His enemy, that person will never be guided. You can show them the greatest miracles. You can bring them all the proofs and evidence, but they will not accept. They will not be ready to accept. Because that hidayah and that guidance is only in the hands and in the control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, He's told in the Quran, إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. That you cannot guide who you love. You're not given this control of guidance. وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He guides whomsoever He wants. So this aspect and idea of hidayah and guidance, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses to make someone an enemy, then there's this tawfiq and ability of hidayah, this aspect of ever being guided, that is taken away. That tawfiq and zeal and ability to ever find guidance is taken away from that person. Even they may be in the midst of the most righteous people. They may be in the midst of people that can guide them. They will not benefit from those people in any way. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding and give all of us the tawfiq to practice His deen. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم نور قلوبنا بالقرآن وزين أخلاقنا بالقرآن ونجنا من النار بالقرآن وادخلنا في الجنة بالقرآن. اللهم اجعل القرآن لنا في الدنيا قرينا وفي القبر مونسا وعلى الصراط نورا وفي الجنة رفيقا ومن النار سترا وحجابا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.